Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
You really never know what's going to happen with this basketball team. There's always something to occur when it comes to the Philadelphia 76ers. And in this tilt with the Portland Trail Blazers, Joel Embiid tweaks his ankle 5-6 minutes into the basketball game. You don't see him anymore. And at this point, I'm over it. I just don't care. I don't care about the gelling of the team and, hey, they need to play together. A couple games ago when Ben Simmons went out, I was all frustrated because, this team never plays together. But at this point, I realized there's, 3-4 basketball games left? Who the hell cares? Those 3-4 basketball games, that's not going to be enough to win a championship. That's not going to be the difference in this team actually doing anything or not. So who cares if they sit Joel Embiid out for the rest of the time? Who the hell gives a damn? Because that's not going to be the difference in them going on some miracle run or not. This is who they are at this point. And then in terms of this game against the Trailblazers, I thought they battled their asses off for what it was and for what the circumstances were. You know what? They gave it everything they had. Josh Richardson, God bless you. You've been trash since you got into the bubble. And then you stepped up when Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid was not in the lineup. He finished with 34 points. He did have that awful foul late on Dame Lillard, which essentially did change the flow of the basketball game. And it wasn't as if anyone could stop Dame. He had 51 points. He was getting to the paint whenever he wanted to. He was doing whatever he wanted. He was shooting it from the perimeter. He was dribbling the ball past guys. I mean, you name it, Dame Lillard was able to do it. It is what it is. It's one of those games where, okay, you lose your rim protector. Al Horford's clearly lost a step defensively. Norvel Pelt, in theory, he's someone who can protect the rim, but it doesn't relate at all to what you get out of Joel Embiid. So Dame Lillard was doing his thing. And here's something I want to note. When it comes to this bubble, all these scores are so obnoxious. There's all these players dropping 30-plus, 50-plus, 40-plus. There's got to be something to that, right? Maybe it's the no fans, so it forces these guys to not play as intense, or it's because they all understand that the postseason is coming, so these are just kind of type of games. But you got guys dropping 40 this night, 35 this night, 50-plus this night, and there's something to that, okay? There's something to all of these players around the league scoring an absurd amount of points in all of these basketball games. I just need to note that, because when you looked at what happened with TJ Warren against the Sixers, and I'm not saying that, hey, it's okay because this is happening all around, but this guy's torching every single team he's playing at this point. So I'm not saying 54 points to TJ Warren is allowed by any means, but there needs to be context thrown around that. There's all these players scoring an obnoxious amount of points. I mean, hell, Josh Richardson dropping 34 points. What the hell is that? He hasn't played that good and I don't know how long. Looking at my damn watch, I don't know how long. Speaking of Dame Lillard, by the way, loved his response to Pat Beverly and Paul George. He made it happen against both of those players. Those buzzer beater shots that end the playoff series. The buzzer beater 3. And then the monster deep 3 against Paul George last year. And those players have the audacity to make fun of Dame Lillard after missing a couple free throws. Not this game, the game before when they played the Clippers. They have the audacity to make fun of him after missing a couple of free throws and missing a late shot when he has multiple times made big-time shots in the postseason. I thought that was so childish. And the way that Dame settled it, like, hey, I take this as a sign of respect. I've put them through pain. I put them through misery. They're only reacting the way that they're reacting because of what I did to them. And I thought that was the perfect way to settle the score. And the reason I bring that up is you know that the Portland Trail Blazers are fighting for their damn lives. So what they needed to do compared to what the 76ers needed to do, two totally different scenarios. And once you lose someone like Joel Embiid, it's so easy to be deflated and kind of lose your team a bit, and they hung in there. They did everything they could. Now, they used a hell of a roster. They went with, you got Shake Milton, you had Tobias, of course, Al Horford, Josh Richardson, and then you had Norvel Pell, Mike Scott, Alec Burks, Glenn Robinson III was back, Furkan, Matisse. They just had to throw a bunch of people at the Trailblazers. And like I said, everyone worked their asses off. Everyone competed. Everyone was out there giving it their all, and it came down to some crazy shots at the end. That 4-point play for Dame Lillard was a difference maker, but Al Horford made a big shot there, a big three-pointer, and it was a shame that he got into foul trouble. He only played 22 minutes because it wasn't as if when he was out there that he was some terrible player by any means. He continues to have a little pep in his step. He finished with 15 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists in 22 minutes. Might have been 16 points, 15 points, 16 points, one of the two, but I digress. It's not that bad for 22 minutes to play. The problem was, though, he was getting himself in personal foul problem. And one thing Joel Embiid is doing, by the way, and this happened in the short amount of time that he played in this game, he just finds a way to get guys into foul trouble. So hopefully whenever he does play again, and it's in the postseason, that this is something that he will continue to utilize. Get players in foul trouble left and right. Get guys to the bench early. Make sure they wrap you up and do whatever they need to do to you where the ref has to blow the whistle, so they have to park themselves on the bench and go deep into the bench early, because that is going to help out this 76ers team without a doubt. For whatever chance they have, that's going to help them when the games intensify, specifically against the Boston Celtics, where they don't have too many big men that can compete. And when I say they don't have too many, I mean they don't have any. They don't have any big men that should be able to compete with Joel Embiid. By the way, this episode is sponsored by Orbit Energy and Power. They offer flexible financing solutions such as $0 down when going solar. They will make sure you receive all the state and federal incentives available when switching to solar. There's no risk and no need for investment. So make sure you check out their information. It is in the description. Tobias Harris struggled. He took 19 shots. He was 7 of 19. There are some nights where he shoots a lot and it's a little bit ugly, and this was definitely one of them. There are some times where that happens with him. High-volume shooter, and it doesn't really work the way that it needs to work for him. And I see some reaction on Twitter when Tobias does go through certain games like this. Oh, we paid him so much. He needs to step up when Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid aren't there. No, you honestly did not pay Tobias Harris to be this alpha dog when Ben and Joel aren't there. If you thought that was what you were getting when you were signing him, well, then you just don't really know what Tobias Harris is all about. At this point, that is not what Tobias Harris is. He's not your go-getter, insane takeover guy just because you paid him a lot. Without Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, this team is screwed. That's reality. This team is screwed without Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. So if that's a scenario that's laid out like it was in this game, Tobias Harris is not your insane, off-the-dribble guy who's just going to take over ISO possessions and put the team on his back and totally destroy another basketball team. That's not who he is. Now, that doesn't mean that they messed up for paying him. I think Tobias Harris is a fine third option, but he's not a takeover type guy. But when you build a roster, once you have 2 stars that you believe in that can take over, you can overpay for a player like Tobias Harris who gives you 20 plus per game, and that's what they did with Tobias. I don't know how many times I need to explain it, but to see Tobias Harris Tobias Harris get destroyed for a performance like this, I get being frustrated with him, but to expect something that he isn't, well, that's just ridiculous. To expect him to be an isolation, take over the game type of player. When was that ever Tobias Harris? That's like expecting Shake Milton to do it, or expecting Al Horford to do it, or expecting Glenn Robinson III to do it. Why would you ever expect those players to do it? That would be silly. That would be ridiculous. You wouldn't, because they're not that type of player. Where Tobias Harris is not that type of player. He's a good complementary piece to a Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, and he could play that stretch 4 position, and he can knock down that shot from 3-point range, and he has other skill sets, and he's versatile. And he can give you that mid-range game. But he's not give me the damn ball. I'm about to do this. And that's fine. Because he doesn't need to be for this team to succeed. Those 2 players do. And without those 2 players, I don't care what player on this team thinks he has the give me the ball attitude. It ain't going to be enough. It's that simple. But yes, he did struggle. Burks continuing to be a microwave off the bench. 8 for 14, 20 points. Matisse, I'll tell you what, on that defensive end, he's incredible. He is incredible. It's crazy to think that he's this successful in the NBA this quickly. It's scary, honestly. It's scary to think what he's doing in this league. And as he continues to do it, he gets that narrative with him. And then the refs give him a little bit more benefit of the doubt. And then players are a little bit more afraid to go up against him. He's only going to get better and better and better every single year as he grows on the defensive end. And the fact that he's doing this already is mind-blowing, and it's so funny to think about what I said about his defense on draft night and all that. Like, hey, another defender. Yeah, it is another defender, but this defender is way more elite than we could have ever expected him to be. There's no way that anyone would have predicted that his defense would be this lethal this early in his career, but he's a game changer defensively, and I want to keep my eyes out on how many minutes he gets and who he guards on specific nights when things start to intensify. Honestly, at this point, it's so hard for me to be truly insanely invested in these handful of games down the stretch. The Ben Simmons loss hurt me to my core to the point where it's crushing for even this playoff run. Yes, obviously, I'm going to sit and watch every single playoff game, but the mood has shifted so much without Ben Simmons to the point where, hey, at this point, to be fair, I was a little bit like that as well with Ben Simmons still in the lineup, but it has changed, no doubt. And with Joel Embiid and Matisse Thybulle, I want to see who he gets matched up with. I want to see what his minutes are like. I want to see how he produces in this run. How many times have I sat here and talked about a player's growth with Ben and Joel? I want to see it with Matisse. I want to see him get this experience. I want to see him in a different atmosphere when the game slows down. What's he going to be like in the half-court set? How is he going to smother opponents? How is he going to stay in front of opponents? How is he going to utilize that method where when he does get beat, he can go from behind and swat players from the backside? Because he does that a lot too. Is he going to take charges? How many steals is he going to get? I want to see how he develops as the playoff series goes on. Because I feel he's going to be playing so damn well that you can't take him off the court. He's going to earn his way into more playoff minutes than he originally gets. I think you're going to see more out of Alec Burks at this point as well. He's another player who is clearly winning the battle when it comes to getting more playoff minutes. And I think Matisse is going to slide in there as well because he's going to be literally smothering players. Now, it would be nice if he could be able to hit some shots on the offensive side as well, so that would allow him to play even more minutes because I hope the offense isn't totally out of whack when it comes to spacing because he won't be able to make shots. Like, if he can't make shots offensively, it's going to hurt the spacing of this team. I hope he can do that. That would allow him to play more minutes. He goes through spurts, no doubt. There is a time where you see Matisse Thybulle and he's knocking down shots consistently, and then there's times where he goes empty and blank for a little bit as well. So he's going to have to find a way to get some sort of spark offensively. Whether he's cutting, he's doing a good job cutting as well, and he's kind of being a slasher, and he gets to go to the hoop hard. He's been doing that. That'll work. Without a doubt, that will work. There was a chance to win this game, though. Last possession, out of a bounds play. And if you see the replay, and let me be clear, I don't care that they didn't win, okay? I don't care about the look. I don't care that Josh Richardson was very close to hitting it. I don't care that Josh Richardson was the one that got the look. I don't care about any of it. I don't. Quite frankly, I don't. But as Josh Richardson was running to the top of the key, and he fell over, and then he complained, real time, I thought, so 76ers, so 2020. The replays all over Twitter in slow motion. You couldn't have grabbed Josh Richardson's jersey more if you wanted to. You could see the jersey in full stretch because of how hard he was being grabbed before he fell over. And once again, I don't care. I don't care. But how do you miss that? How do you not call something like that? You're watching the ball, right? You're watching the ball, and you're also watching the guys running around the floor. So you got a guy who's watching the inbound, and you got guys watching what's going on the court. How do you miss that? It's a guy running to the top of the key, running towards the inbound. More times than not, that guy's going to get the basketball. I was waiting, though, for Furkan Korkmaz to be the one with the game big shot. Because if you remember, when the Philadelphia 76ers were in Portland early in the season to go on that win streak to start the year. Furkan on the sideline there had a big out-of-bounds three to win the basketball game. And they showed the highlight on the broadcast, and they showed it where obviously you see the fans and everyone's going not crazy. Before the shot was made, they were going crazy. After the shot, they went silent. But it was almost weird to see fans in the stands. It was almost weird to see an environment and to see what it looks like, because I'm so used to, at this point, the media wall with all the fans watching remotely from home, and I'm so used to not hearing fans anymore. Now you hear fans, and it's, whoa, this is what it was like, and you see fans, you think, this is what it was? I saw a clip of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs from years back with the Flyers, and it was the Wells Fargo Center going nuts and how loud it was. How did they do that back then? It was so loud. How did they do that? I forgot what it was like. It was crazy. Absolutely crazy. So they play the Suns on what, Tuesday? And they have a back-to-back. It's so hard for me to get juiced up for these games. And I would feel the same way if it was, say, game 78 of 82 in the regular season. It feels like at this point that natural time of the year where, hey, let's get to the postseason. The problem is, though, the hey, let's get to the postseason is also followed by this statement. Ben Simmons needs surgery on his left knee and he's not going to be playing. Why every year is it something with one of these players? Joel Embiid, he's sick. He's got this problem. He's got that problem. Now Ben Simmons is out. Will we ever get a stretch run when it comes to the postseason where we have active stars, where the top dogs are involved without some sort of game time decision before every single game? Please, one of these years, I beg of you. Support for Sports Talk with Broads, by the way, is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in the men's below-the-belt grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. They obsess over their technology developments to provide you the best tools for your grooming experience. I got mine. I'm in the shower. LED lights. It's just a wonderful piece of art. It's beautiful. It works. It's smooth. It's genius. You never miss anything down there. It's the best experience I have ever had, and that's why Manscaped has redesigned the electric trimmer. The Manscaped engineer team spent 18 months perfecting the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created, and they just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0. Their third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce manscaping accidents thanks to Manscaped advanced skin-safe technology. When I tell you it's premium, I mean it is premium. I mentioned the LED lights. They've upgraded to a 7,000 RPM motor with quiet stroke technology. Trim that junk of yours. Get 20% off and free shipping with code BROD at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you. Get 20% off and free shipping with code BROD at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code BROD. I'm not going to lie to you, though. It's super fun watching Dame Lillard. I love his attitude. I love his swag. I love his game. And I love how he continues to work and he continues to get better. And the way that he knocks down shots deeper every single year, it's like, whoa. He can consistently knock down those shots like Steph Curry can at this point when it comes to range. The range on his three-pointers, it's literally nuts. And it's so fun to see him compete. I want to see him get that 8th seed and be able to play against the 1 seed. I know the NBA is rooting for that, right? Because although the Portland Trail Blazers didn't have their best season, where they fell here, it's a little intriguing. Now, do I think they're going to beat the Lakers? No. I think LeBron and Anthony Davis are a better team, although without Avery Bradley and losing out on, who else did they lose out on besides Avery Bradley? Rondo. Rondo had the injury. Those are some big losses to some bench players, so it can hurt them. And I mentioned that in the past, that, yeah, you know what? The Lakers can be banged up and possibly go out earlier than expected because of that. I don't expect that to be the first round. I don't anticipate it to be that early. It'll be interesting, though, just because of who Dame Lillard is and what CJ McCollum can bring to the table and the type of veteran leadership that they had and what type of run they went on in the past. When it comes to the Sixers, I put my hands up when it comes to this team. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what you're going to get every night. I don't know if Joel Embiid's going to play. I don't know what the deal is with any of these players. Although you did hear that Raul Neto's not going to be in the lineup. Well, then why the hell was he even playing? Why the hell was he even playing? If you know he's not in the lineup, why the hell was he even playing? It's hard to judge anything off this game when it comes to the rotation, though. A couple things that I realized. Alec Burks should clearly be getting some buckets off the bench and play more minutes. He should be sixth man. It shouldn't be Furkan. He should be sixth man. Glenn Robinson III, he's going to have to work himself back in here. He missed some time. He's going to have to work some time in. I don't think Mike Scott's playing well enough. I know he hit that shot late, but ultimately, I'm not a big fan of Mike Scott this season. I don't think I'd be giving him minutes. You might have to at this point, because with Ben Simmons playing point forward, him not being here, Al Horford starting at power forward, that backup four can be Mike Scott. At this point, I think you will. But what I would do personally is slide Tobias Harris down at times, have him play the four, enter one of those wing players that you have at the three. Although I'm not against totally Mike Scott, but I don't think that he's very solid this year, and I'm not thrilled to have him in there. I'm just not insanely totally against him. It's not Raul Neto, okay? If Raul Neto touches the floor, it's get this guy off the damn floor. With Mike Scott, it's, man, he hasn't been smooth this year. I don't know about it, but he's a veteran player who deserves to be in the NBA, unlike a player like Raul Neto, who is more of your just regular season guy to eat up some bench minutes when it's a big blowout. Or when you got a lot of guys banged up. Here's Raul Neto. That's his role in the NBA. Not actual play. Tuesday night, Phoenix Suns. See what they do. Booker's been playing well. Mikal Bridges. I'm sure every time he sees that Philadelphia 76ers uniform, he wants to say, screw you for what you did. Screw you. They're playing good basketball. Put my hands up, though. I don't know. I just don't know. Thank you all so much, and I will see you next time.